Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, or whenever you may find me. We are in Genesis, a journey through Genesis, a Genesis devotional, and we are on day 18. The Lord appeared to Abraham by the oaks of the Mamre. As he sat at the entrance of his tent in the heat of the day, he looked up and saw 3 men standing near him. When he saw them, he ran from the tent entrance to meet them. He bowed down to the ground. He said, "My Lord, if I find favor with you, do not pass by your servant. Let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourself under the tree. Let me bring a little bread, that you may refresh yourself, and after that you may pass on, since you have come to your servant." So they said, "Do as you have said." And Abraham hastily into the tent to Sarah and said, "Make ready quickly 3 measures of choice flour, knead it, and make it cakes." Abraham ran out to the herd, took a calf, tender and good, and gave it to the servant, who hastily to prepare it. Then he took out curds and milk and a calf that he had prepared, and set it before them. He stood under the tree while they ate, and they said to him, "Where is your wife Sarah?" And he said, "There, in the tent." Then one said, "I will surely return to you in due season, and your wife Sarah shall have a son." And Sarah was listening in the tent in the entrance behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in age, and had ceased to be with Sarah the way of the manner of women. So Sarah laughed to herself, saying, "After I have grown old, and my husband is old, shall I have pleasure?" The Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh and say, 'Shall I indeed bear a child now that I am old?' Is anything too wonderful for the Lord? At the set time I will return to you in due season, and Sarah shall have a son." But Sarah denied, saying, "I did not laugh," for she was afraid. He said, oh yes, you did laugh." Then the 3 men set out from there, and they looked around toward Sodom. And Abraham went with them to set them on their way. The Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what I'm about to do? Seeing that Abraham should become a great and mighty nation, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. No, for I have chosen him, that he may charge his children and his household after him, to keep way of the Lord by doing righteousness and justice, so the Lord may bring about Abraham what he has promised him." Then the Lord said, "How great is the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah, and how very grave is their sin. I must go down and see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry that has come to me. If not, I will know." So the men turned from there and went to Sodom, and while Abraham remained standing before the Lord, then Abraham came near and said, "Will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there are 50 righteous within the city. Will you then sweep away the place and not forgive it for the 50 righteous who are in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous fare as the wicked. Far be it that from you. Shall not be the judge of all the earth. Do what is just." And the Lord said, "If I find at Sodom 50 righteous in the city, I will forgive the whole place for their sake." And Abraham answered, "Let me take it upon myself to speak to the Lord, I, who am but dust and ash. Suppose 5 of the 50 righteous are lacking. Will you destroy the whole city for lack of 5? And he said, "I will not destroy, if I find 45 there." Again he spoke to him, "Suppose 40 are found there." And he answered, "For the sake of 40, I would not do it." Then he said, "Oh, do not let the Lord be angry if I speak once more. Suppose 30 are found there." And he answered, "I will not do it. If I find 30 there," he said, "let me take it upon myself to speak to the Lord, supposedly, one more time. Suppose 20 are found there, he answered. For the sake of 20. The Lord said, for the sake of 20, I will not destroy it. And then he said, oh, do not let the Lord be angry, for I speak once more. Suppose 10. 10 are found there. And he answered, for the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. And the Lord went on his way. When he had finished speaking with Abraham, and Abraham returned to the place. Now, what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah is beyond. People would enter the city as a visitor, passing through, and they would be brutally raped. Brutally raped, continuously, until they left. Which they went running and screaming out. That is the outcry. Somebody, somewhere else, it stated Sodom and Gomorrah being as brutal as they were to people passing through. Not only to each other in the city, but also passing through. So, I mean, this is like not welcome touches, so to speak. All right, let's look at our reflection real quick. Reflection is written again by Rabbi Gregory S. Marks. I don't know if he's going to mention that, though. Genesis 18 is essential two stories in one. We learn first that the announcement of the birth of Isaac, and then we are taken to Sodom and Gomorrah. Part 1, 3 angels, those are the 3 visitors, tell Abraham and Sarah that God's promise will be fulfilled, and they will have a child. Upon hearing the good news, Sarah cynically mocks the possibility of childbirth. After I have grown old and my husband is old, where shall I have pleasure? But the angels remain her of God's great reach. Is there anything too wonderful or impossible for the Lord? Genesis 18 is the first of 93 miraculous occurrences in the Hebrew Bible. God is known in my Jewish tradition as a Pelyot. I might be pronouncing that wrong. The doer of wonder. Religious faith begins when we look with wonder. Fight our cynicism. Believe in the wonderment of life and live with a radical amazement. Part 2. Those same angels who visited Abraham and Sarah now travel to Sodom and Gomorrah with a plan to destroy evil. In this section, Abraham experiences a different kind of wonderment, confronting God and pleading for the lives of people of Sodom and Gomorrah. Despite the differences of these two parts of Genesis 18, a common theme emerges. Faith calls us to see the miracles of life, but it does not stop there. With gratitude for the miracles that surround us all, our faith is also transcendent call to work for justice and for peace. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Herzl writes, the wonderment leads to engagement. The beginning of faith is not a feeling for the mystery of living, or the sense of awe. The root of religion is the question, what to do with the feeling for the mystery of living. Religion, the end of isolation, begins with a consciousness that sometimes is asked of us, of all of us. Wonder is not the state of aesthetic enjoyment. Wonder unlocks the deep sense of indebtedness. The world consists not only of things, but of tasks. Wonder is the state of our just simply being asked. Amen.